So in the last video, we showed how to do remote access to the Starlink network since they don't allow port forwarding using a reverse VPN. And in this case, I'm using WireGuard on an Ubuntu desktop, Ubuntu Mate. So real quick, let's just verify that we're still up and running. So IP-A shows we're on the 10.3.13 network, which is my WireGuard VPN, as well as having an IP address on ENS160, which is my primary Ethernet adapter, of 192.168.1.155. So let's just validate that. So we'll do a ping. So I can tell that I'm getting to my production network, which is disconnected from the Starlink at the moment. Okay, so we'll clear the screen. So what I've done, just to make my life a little bit easier, is I have created a text file called Docker install. So I'll post all these in the show notes. It'll just make it a little bit simpler so we can copy and paste. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and install a few prerequisites for Docker. And if you have questions about Docker or what it is, feel free to post in the notes. I can point you some tutorials. Essentially, it's just a layer of abstraction, much like virtualization, but even further. So we'll let this run for a second. Again, we're running this over Starlink network, so we might get a little bit of latency, but honestly, for what it is, this is super impressive. I just can't say enough good stuff about Starlink at this point. Okay, so that's done. So we'll go ahead and get the key, attach the repository. I will be scripting all this and posting it to my GitHub repository later, but for now, I'm just getting this done. Unfortunately, I spent too much time doing this, and I should have scripted this a long time ago. So let this finish. This will require a reboot, so you'll get to see me reboot my machine. Oops, paste doesn't seem to be working today. Okay. And literally, I'm just running through all this is in the Docker documentation. So if you have questions, you can always take a look there, or you can just take my word for it. Just now installing Docker. We're going to do a little bit of post install here. So we'll add, make sure the Docker group is added. We'll add the current user to the Docker group. And then we will have to do a reboot, and then we'll reconfigure this and bring these back up. So I'll probably pause the video so you guys don't have to watch my system reboot. Okay, so the group already exists, so we'll go ahead and add the current user. Sometimes reboot isn't required, but we'll give it a shot anyway. Okay, so we're back again after the reboot. So I'm going to go ahead and install Docker Compose, which is just a nice way of installing these Docker images much more quickly. And again, if you want more information, there's a lot. You can just there's a lot of tutorials on this. This is not going through all this. This is just trying to get this up and running so I can show you how I made this work. And I am going to give full credit. I did not create any of these images. This was all done by somebody else, and I will post their information or their a link to their repository in the description. Full credit to them because this is quite exceptional. Going forward, I will be doing some things around Home Assistant and showing you how to do all this, but for now, I just want to get this done. That's because we're in the wrong directories. Okay. So now real quick, I'm just going to modify that env file. It's an environmental variables file. So we don't need to worry about the port. That's a standard Grafana port. We're going to change this to 60. Close and save. And then I'm just going to run a Docker compose up -d. So that just means that I'm going to create these images. and I'm going to detach immediately, so it'll run in the background. So it's creating everything. So on this side, I can go and close out this window, bring up Firefox while I'm waiting, and allow this to continue running. It'll take it a minute to pull down what it needs. So the reason that I chose to do it this way with the remote access is now I can access this from my production network. So I don't actually need to be on this network. In this case, I'm going to show you how to do it from this network, but I'll also show you how to do it from the production network. Okay, so we can see that it's done now. Let's see if that worked. So we'll do localhost and port 3000, oh, 3000, not 300. So it's going to come up. Okay, so that works. So we're going to come up to home, and it's going to show us under general speed test results. So I've literally done nothing, and okay, so we're starting to gather some data. And so I can actually change this to the last 5 minutes, and then I can set it to update, because I set it to update as to recall every minute. So we're seeing that we're getting some results. And so as we go over time, we'll see this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over to my desktop, and I'm going to show you being able to access this. And so, okay, so we're going to look for the IP address. So when we brought it back up, we did not bring up the WireGuard interface. So we're going to do a sudo g-quick up wg0. Okay, so now we're going to do an IPA, and our bottom address is 10.3.13.9. So I'm going to come over here to my desktop, 10.3.13.9, port 3000, and now I'm able to remotely access that. My current IP address is, or my current system is connected to my home network, so I'm going to go ahead and take a look at those speed test results, and so I can continue to watch this graph grow. And so I'll change the time frame to 5 minutes to show a little bit more data. And so you'll see us running every 1 minute, and I can set this to actually refresh every 1 minute as well. So now I can start tracking my results over time. And so very simply now what we've shown you is how you can create this. You can start mapping over time. This works for anything. It doesn't have to be Starlink specific. And this is all based off of things that you can easily download for free off the internet, and very simple to track performance. You can also use this for other internet service providers. So in future videos, we'll show you how to do this with Home Assistant. We'll talk about things like other options for remote access and things like that. As always, if you could hit the like button and subscribe, so you'll know when there's new videos, and it'll also help other people find the channel. If you find this useful, and if not, if you have other things you'd like me to test or show you, I'd be happy to. As always, I'm doing this because I enjoy this. This is something that is very important to me, and I think we're making things a lot better. So please let me know how I can provide more tests and more information to you. Thanks a lot, and we will hopefully be having another video up shortly. So thanks.